Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Chicagoland in Chicago, Illinois. Juliet, Illinois, to be precise. We are here tonight for the ANZCAR Cup here on this tri-oval speedway. Joining me up in the booth tonight is JP. How are you going, JP?
Doing really well, thanks, Carl. Yourself?
Not too bad, thank you. So just before we get into things, I'm just going to quickly go over the championship standings, as we do with the top 10. So up in first place is still Danny G, doing a great job holding that first spot this season. Just behind him is Michael Skurlock in second. In third place is Edward Foster. All three of those drivers have been keeping way up there and doing well. Josh Micklemore in fourth with Jason Martin. The Mitch Motorsport guys got three of their cars in the top five. A fantastic job. Hamish Gallagher is sixth with James Roby in seventh. Eighth is Norman Clark, giving Simshed two cars up in the top 10. With Jason Hartigan in ninth with their third car, and then Matt Hunter in 10th place, creeping his way up there. Matt Hunter, of course, former broadcaster for the channel, now racing in his first season of Cup and up in the top 10 of the championship. Fantastic job so far for him.
Yeah, he's been slowly getting on week after week. Every time I see him, he's sort of doing a little bit better there or thereabouts. So fantastic job for Matt, and it's great to see him do the that transition from broadcaster to racer.
It gives you hope for the future, doesn't it? It means you've got a chance to get away from this broadcasting booth and go out there on track and have some fun in the future at some stage.
I've got absolutely no chance at all of being able to get out on that track and mix it up with those guys. I look at them and they scare me.
It is a hard thing to do, and as we usually say on the channel, it's easy to get a car around on an oval, but it's hard to master an oval and get the car around there fast.
Yeah, and watching these guys getting their cars around in the way that they do their racing or go about their racing, absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely, and Chicagoland is a tricky one because around turn 3 and 4, the car really does lose a lot of traction and can have a lot of problems. So it can really throw you off a little bit here.
Yeah, look, I was watching practice a little bit earlier on, and some of the guys were having real issues going through turn 3 and 4. You could see the back end of the car stepping out and getting quite messy through there. So will be very interesting to see what happens as the tyre life sort of goes away from these guys. 133 laps, I believe, tonight, just shy of 200 miles.
Yeah, just shy of that. So 133 laps tonight. So we might see if the time limit does run a little bit longer, just because we're a little bit late starting the server, we might see some issues there. But shouldn't be too much of a problem. Chicagoland can be quite rough on tyres as well. It's a notorious circuit for tyre degradation and being a tricky circuit to run on constantly. It's a very fast track, but you do have to lift through that first corner after a few laps on these tyres. And then when you get through turns 3 and 4, as you were saying just before, you do have to watch out there too.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see the strategies play out tonight. Everyone's got, I'm sure, has got a plan of how they expect their race to go. It'll be interesting to see whose race goes according to plan and who has to start working their strategies on the fly.
Well, that is the big one here because it is so easy to get a caution out here tonight, and that's when those strategies will change, and you'll see people switching to different strategies on the fly there. It can be very tricky doing that as well, and that's one of the things that we always say in stock car is it does make it quite tricky in the fact that you do have to sort of change your strategy mid-race when one of those cautions come out here especially. You've got to basically do the whole thing of a crew chief and driver at the same time when you're driving a stock car around an oval.
Yeah, and you don't get much time to react really with these cars, with the laps being so short. What are we looking at here? We're looking at a 30-second lap, or there or thereabouts.
Yep, sub 29 if you are very much on it, but about a 30-second lap here, and that is the thing for this track is you sort of you've got 30 seconds to think, and usually a caution will come out right at the moment that you're sort of thinking, oh, whereabouts am I going to go? And you've got to make those split decisions. So as we start to line up on the grid here, let's go through the starting order. So on the front row of the grid, we have Jason Martin with Josh Micklemore. Second row of the grid, great qualifying for Norman Clark and Jake Maloney. Third row of the grid is Danny G, Stephen Williams. Fourth is Neil Pearson and Bradley Allison. Fifth row is Edward Foster and Matthew Cluett. Sixth row is Raymond Yeager with Mirko Dortnack. Seventh row is Lachlan with Phil Otto. Eighth is Michael Skurlock with Mick Wilson. Ninth, we've got Danny Albin and Rob Fletcher. 10th is Steve Hoppett and Mark Johansson. 10th is Matt Hunter and Stacey Walker. 11th is Tristan Koch with Hamish Gallagher. And Bruce Barnes takes up the rear.
And it's a sight to see the Mitch Motorsport guys closing out the front row of the of this race. Great to see Norman Clark in third, though. It's fantastic. Really hoping he has a good race tonight.
Absolutely, and that new paint job on his car, the JP Simshed entry. Of course, you have no nepotism towards that car, obviously, but it looks fantastic.
Absolutely not. Even though I painted it myself, I've got absolutely no nepotism whatsoever. And I do have to send a big shout out to Kieran from Granger Design for the template on that car. He did a fantastic job with the template. Made my job of painting the thing very easy indeed.
It's always nice when things are a bit easier. But yeah, some fantastic looking cars out there. We've got a nice big field full of them with 25 drivers taking the start tonight. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a big field out there, so we'll have to see how all these things run out.
So what do you say? Carl? The inside line is the line to be on for the start of the race.
You're probably going to want to be on the inside. It's going to help you a lot through those first corners. It's going to give you a lot more options, things like that. The outside can get a little bit slippery as we come up to the start-finish line. The pace car comes in, and we are go for Chicagoland.
Awesome start by Jason Martin. He's shown them a clean pair of heels.
He got a fantastic launch there. We did see a car dropping just below the line. And I'm not sure who that was. A couple of cars just finding a little bit tricky on that first corner, but nobody's gone round yet as they come into turns 3 and 4. Almost 3 wide at the back with Danny G and Steve Williams. They're coming across the line side by side here. Foster as well looking hungry. They're almost 4 wide across the start-finish line here. Bit risky this early on, but they're starting to settle back into position now. That nice wide start-finish line is very tempting to use this early on in the race.
Yeah, really impressive watching these cars going through their 3 and 4 wide. Looks like they're starting to spread out a little bit now and starting to get nose to tail. Mid-pack is still racing looking pretty racy there.
It is, and one of the problems you have here at Chicagoland is when you do start getting nose to tail, you do get that drop off on the aero on the front of the car, and this track has a rather tricky set of corners. They feel like they should be faster than they are, and it catches a few drivers out. As we see Josh Micklemore going underneath his teammate here, Jason Martin, and taking that position back. He got a fantastic launch there, bringing along Jake Maloney, who tries his best to get there, but Martin comes down and dashes his hopes as they all spread across the infield, across the track again as they cross the start-finish line. They're all jostling for position. So far, the people that have been making it work are Josh Micklemore and Jake Maloney.
Yeah, Josh seemed to fake his teammate out a little bit, and as soon as he got a little high, just went down and just snapped up that position, made it work for him. And it looked like Jake is trying to do the same thing now.
He's trying his best there, and if he gets a good sniff of the draft, he could get an extra couple of kilometres per hour on Martin here and get past, but you've got to get that draft working properly, and you've got to be in the right position. The other problem is you've got to have that traction when you're coming out the corners. If your car gets light on the front, you get a little bit of a sway. You have to lift off that little bit, you lose speed coming into the straight, and that's where it really affects you.
Yeah, I can see that. And it also looks like Norman's starting to buy into this battle a little bit as well. He's sort of sitting back, maybe keeping an eye on these three in front of him, seeing what they're going to be doing before maybe making a move.
And speaking of Norman Clark, his teammate Edward Foster is now on the charge. Moving up the field, he's fighting with Danny G. Trying to take his fourth spot of this race so far. He's taking that inside line. He's getting a bit of help from the car behind him of Bradley Allison, helping him just try and push him through that corner a little bit. And that's going to close the door off for Danny G. Now, if Danny G can get in front of Foster here, it's going to be helpful. Norman Clark comes up just to block Danny G a little bit to help his teammate get through. Fantastic job there as Foster gets underneath Danny G. Now Clark has to just be careful not to lose too much speed.
Yeah, you can see the effectiveness of teamwork here. It's really worked to Foster, and now Foster's in front of Danny G. Looks like, yep, move done.
Getting a toe from Clark there just as they come off of turn 4. Clark going out into the open air just cost him a little bit of time. He's just lost a little bit of speed there, as we see Bradley Allison coming along very well here. Now Foster's climbing his way up back onto Jake Maloney, and I'm sure Clark's going to want to try and keep his teammate in check right now. The trouble is he's got a car down the inside of Bradley Allison and a Danny G who's going to be looking at charging hard, trying to get those positions back.
Yeah, and it looks like Bradley's going to be able to make that move stick, and Danny G is trying to follow him too.
Bradley Allison, pretty much a standout star this season as one of the rookies, very much up the front of the grid, having a fantastic season. Just sort of speaking of the rookies this year, and of course Matt Hunter, as well as we mentioned before, up in the top 10 of the championship. Fantastic job from these guys for their first season in the Cup cars. It's what we really like to see here. Some new faces, new drivers getting up there. And Bradley Allison has got a lot of people's attention. He is very fast. He's very good.
He certainly is, and it looks like Ed's gone and taken another spot there, taken a spot off Jake Maloney. He is on a real charge now. No, Jake's sort of fighting back now, so it's going to be swings and roundabouts for a lap or two maybe, but I think Ed's got the preferred line, the lower line.
He does, and Norman Clark is just sitting there, just making it a bit harder for him. Bradley Allison just getting a little bit loose there, I think. Just in the background, getting a little bit close to the back of Jake Maloney as well. They are going for it, fast and hard charging. The Maloney and Foster battle was picked up from the Grand National Series, the 87 cars that run for the ANZCAR series. They were battling at the front at Rockingham yesterday night. Maloney's now got a good charge as Allison helps him up the inside. Foster can't do anything to match it. Looks like Allison's going to get down the inside of Foster as well. Will Foster be able to keep his position there? That is the question. He's going to get a better run off the corner. Behind him, you can see his teammates battling with Danny G as well. Foster's managed to keep the position on Allison, but Maloney's managed to get back ahead now.
And he's put a slight gap on Foster as well, but Foster will still have plenty of time to be able to catch up.
Absolutely, and another thing to think about on this one is tyre wear as well. These guys are going hard and fast at the moment, and that can chew up these tyres. Some of the people up the front, like Jason Martin, Josh Mickelmore, Jason Martin, now back in front in that lead battle. Those guys will just be going a little bit easier on their tyres. They just can keep the same line. They don't have to move around too much. They don't have to sort of go on these odd lines and things like that that some of the other drivers are struggling with. And we've got Bruce Barnes off on the back section. He's spun around. We've got green flag still out.
And we've gone on the caution now.
So we'll just go back and see if we can catch that one from Bruce. Looks like he's been coming through turns 2 and 3. And he's just gone up and just nicked the wall out there, unfortunately. Just clipped that wall a little bit in front of Michael Skurlock, I believe it was. And that's caused him to go down onto the grass and spin around, unfortunately, for Bruce there.
kind of an unusual place to sort of clip the wall because it looked as though he'd been well out of the turn and and was somewhat straight before he did hit that wall.
It it's tricky sometimes with these tracks because you think the car's going to go straight, and then all of a sudden you get a little bit of a change in the feel of wind direction or the feel of the actual draft, or you get a car coming up behind you and it changes the feel of the car, and that can sometimes cause it to just veer slightly to the left and right. These cup cars, although they're not, they're not a Formula One car in their aerodynamics, they are quite aerosensitive. And that slight change in the aero of somebody coming up quite close behind you, as Skurlock did, can sometimes unsettle the car a little bit, just as the drag sort of gets disrupted from the back of your car, and then you also almost feel the car get a little bit light, and you don't realize what's happening until it's too late.
Yeah, okay. And now we see almost the entire field going into the pits here. I don't,
It will be a brave person to stay out and keep their tyres on, because tyres are a must-have here.
and we'll have a look and see if we can get their pit stop times. Now, Jason's usually pretty good in the pits here. Everyone seems to have gotten a good stop. Looks like Foster actually got a great stop.
Absolutely, yeah. Foster looks like he's gained a couple of seconds on, well, about a second on that pit stop, going
Yeah.
past a couple of cars.
Once again, Martin had a 14.6 for his stop. Micklemore a 15 flat. Foster a 15 flat. Allison was a 15.6 and Maloney was a 16.7.
That was a very good stop there. Yeah, Foster has been on the move. Himself and Bradley Allison have been making some moves up there. Foster's 6 places, Bradley Allison 4. Another guy on the charge down in 14th place is Hamish Gallagher. Hamish Gallagher for the 13 management car, making 10 positions so far this race. Really good charge from Gallagher. And we've seen that he can make the distance sometimes. He can eke out a little bit more out of the car sometimes, and has taken a victory this season. So a guy to keep an eye on as this race goes on with Gallagher. He's got the speed, he's got the skill, and he can pull some things out of the bag for sure.
Yeah, it'll also be interesting to watch that restart. Ed was Ed was supremely fast on the start of that race on fresh tyres. He'll be restarting probably in the on the low line, which is going to be the optimal line. So, be interesting to see if he can do anything with that, or whether he's just happy to sit behind Josh and Jason and maybe buy his time.
That's one of those things you have to be just considerate of. Of course, when you are restarting in oval racing series, is the fact that are you going to be starting on the inside or the outside? It can really change how a restart goes. We know that Jason Martin does like to try and leapfrog the pack. He likes to get an early launch off his starts. So if Foster can time it right, he might be able to slot himself in front of Josh Micklemore. Of course, the two teammates of Mitch Motorsport may be working together, and that could make it a little bit harder for Foster to get past.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we've seen time and time again Jason in the box seat on these restarts and just getting blinders of a start and just getting away from everybody and making everyone else chase him down.
Yeah, well, he will prefer people chasing him down than chasing down a lot of the time. Martin, he likes to dominate a race, he likes to lead the pack as well, to control it, and he's very good at doing that. He tends to have that little bit of extra speed in some places where people just go, can't figure out how he does it, but he just does it that little bit. And the old chink in the armour, the pit stops, are a thing of the past for Jason Martin, and we see now he has become almost the total package and is really dominating races, and well, pretty much this season as well. He's been doing a fantastic job so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was watching ANZCAR and doing a few races in ANZCAR towards the end of last season, and of course the broadcast of this season. The one thing I've noticed with Jason is he's very, very smooth with his driving. Tends to look like he's able to get that little bit more out of his tyres and keep those consistent laps. happening for a little bit longer than some of the other guys, than most of the other guys, which really plays into his hands, especially towards the end of the race.
Yeah, keeping those tyres fresh is a key aspect for getting these cars to a winning position, and he often does a good job of that. Um, we have seen a couple of times some people outplay him, though. Again, just talking about Gallagher, because we saw him just steal the victory back a couple of races ago with that fantastic run where he just kept on those older tyres and managed to make it across the line and get that victory. While we saw Jason Martin and Danny G come in for brand new tyres, rolling the dice a little bit. But if that race had gone on for 1 or 2 laps longer, we would have seen either Danny G or Jason Martin taking the win there. It's it's a hard thing to do to bet against these guys sometimes because they are just so very fast. But if anyone's got an answer for their pace tonight, it is Foster, Allison, Maloney. Those guys have been very much on it. And of course, we've still got Norman Clark there in 7th place, just lurking around there, still in a good spot, a good place to restart. And he could come back later in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely don't count Norman out, especially where he is. He did have, he was fast in practice. He was very consistent, and once again, this could be just playing into his hands.
And Martin launches it away almost immediately as that pace car comes in. And Foster has got a fairly good restart here as well. Foster's trying his best to keep down the inside of Micklemore. He might just get a nose ahead here as Bradley Allison gets cut down by Jake Maloney. Maloney helping Foster get past Josh Micklemore here. Foster is now on the chase, but Maloney is not giving up either. He's trying to go down to that inside. Foster and Martin both cover off.
That was a brilliant restart by Jason Martin, but Ed, once again, as I thought, he was on that inside line. He got a great start as well.
We've got Mark Johansson around at the back. Almost a huge crash there. He kept it under control. Nope, he's gone up into the wall. Just gone round, and I think this might be another caution flag coming out.
Let's go to the dripping paints graphic replay and see if we can see what happened there.
Just looks like he's got a tank slapper going across the tri-oval section, coming out of the turns 3 and 4. We've managed to keep green here. He's gone across the infield and gone into pit lane now as the leaders come flying past. Foster taking the lead. So Foster now in the lead of the pack. He's managed to get past Jason Martin, who is trying his best to get back at Foster as Jake Maloney battles with Josh Micklemore at the front.
And Edwards showing a clean pair of heels here. He's actually starting to put a gap on Jason Martin, but yeah, Jason's having none of it. He's trying to keep Ed in check.
He's trying his best to get back at Foster and get that time back that he needs. But so far, Foster is able to answer with more speed.
A great run from Foster, moving up 8 spots to put himself in first place. So, yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. But like I said, Jason's not going to have any of it. He's not going to let Ed run away with this. So, no, he's going to do whatever he can to stay with him.
This is going to be a lot of hard work for Foster to keep that lead, I can assure you, as Jason Martin slowly starts to creep up, just getting that little bit of push from behind with Jake Maloney, and they're slowly starting to creep back to Foster now. It's a bit of a yo-yo effect here tonight. You get a little bit of a launch away from the pack, you seem to get a nice lead, and then all of a sudden that car will come back up and regain its position.
Well, I'd say Ed would have to be working fairly hard to keep that car in the lead, which isn't going to be doing his tyres any favours. Jason probably knows that, and he is probably just staying with him, buying his time, hoping that his tyres start to go off early enough and he can retake that lead.
He is for sure, and just saw that with Jake Maloney as well, just getting very loose as he came out turn 4, just coming onto that tri-oval section, almost going up into the wall there. You've got to be very careful of this track because the walls are almost magnetic. They draw your car to it. You do get a little bit more pace, of course, running closer to that wall, but it's a dangerous game to play, and it is very easy to get bitten by it. As Martin is starting to get a bit of a run on Foster once again, they come up across the tri-oval section. Martin is a little bit closer this time round. He's probably going to try and keep there for another lap maybe, and then try onto the tri-oval once more to pass Foster. We'll see how this goes as they come onto the back straight. Martin just getting out of the draft a little bit, poking his nose out to keep the car cool, making sure Foster knows he's there. He loses a little bit of time on entry, but he's going to try and get it back on the exit. He's going to get the draft here, and he's going to go underneath Foster. Will Foster defend? He's going down as well. Martin can't do anything about it just yet. So he's going to have to follow him for another bit of a lap.
So
great driving there.
Foster knows what Martin's looking to do here, and he's just trying to cover him off. There's a bit of a gap there. Looks like Martin might have an opportunity here. Yes, and he does.
Martin going underneath Foster now, pushing on that high line of turn 3 and 4, and that's not where you want to be. That's going to cost him a bit of time. You can see he falls back as Jake Maloney starts to catch him. Martin going very hard on the inside of the turn there.
And he's managed, and Ed's managed to hold on to second place. Jake Maloney's all over the back of him. You can tell that Jake's looking for an opportunity there. So it's really all for Foster. It's all about covering Jake off and keeping him behind him.
It is just keeping that position held, and they go across the tri-oval again. Maloney going almost on the grass there to get past Foster, trying his best, but Foster just keeping the car low enough to make sure that pass doesn't happen. You've got to bully your way past sometimes with these cars. Just make sure you can force the driver into that high line, and they lose a bit of speed. As we see a little bit further behind, Hamish Gallagher on a bit of a charge, just getting past Lachlan. Coming up to Matthew Clewett now. Brilliant drive from Hamish Gallagher. He's really climbing up the ranks now, up 16 positions.
And we've seen this time and time again from Gallagher, just making the move through the field, running to his game plan really, and being there or thereabouts after the last set of stops.
As we see Maloney getting past Foster, and absolutely Maloney, Gallagher does like to have a game plan. Now Foster's caught on the outside again, and that's going to cost him a bit. As Micklemore is down on the inside of him, they're going to have a bit more speed as they come across the tri-oval section. Could see Foster dropping back to about 4th or 5th place right here.
Well, yeah, Allison's right behind Micklemore, and then Danny G behind Allison, so it's going to be difficult for Foster to find a gap to pull into. So yeah, he might lose quite a few spots here.
He's doing well on the defence, so he manages to keep Micklemore behind him and get back in line. There's some very hungry cars behind him as they cross the tri-oval once more. Cars all over the place. Bradley Allison taking a much higher line there, but that's cost him a little bit.
Yeah, some real tenacious driving there from Foster to keep Micklemore behind him.
It has, and as we were saying, just Hamish Gallagher there, just absolutely flying up to the back of Bradley Allison. He is really fast charging at the moment. Another person on the move is Jason Martin at the front. He's pulled out a free
caution.
And we've got a crash. We have got an incident.
Looks like it could be
back.
Danny Albin. Just going to the Dripping Paints graphics replay here to see what it might have been. And he's just come across the front of Lachlan Urquhart and really basically caused a few cars there to have a moment. He's been able to get going again. I don't know what how Lachlan was though. See if I can find him here in all of this. Looks like he's been able to keep going.
He's kept going. Nick Wilson also caught up in that quite badly. Quite a lot of damage to the front right of the car. He took a big whack from Lachlan as he came down, as he touched the barrier. Big moment there. Well saved. Just to sort of just to manage to keep it on the road at least.
Yeah, these guys might be carrying a bit of damage, but they were lucky to be able to keep going, that's for sure.
Yeah, maybe a bit of an experience there for Danny Albon. He came up, didn't see Lachlan when he was coming up. A car that was a little bit further down the pack last time I checked. But yeah, big moment there, and few names that are going to get caught up in that one. So they're going to come in for all their pit stops once again. We go to the battle on pit road, and Foster is going to want a lightning pit stop like he had last time.
Absolutely. Their last pit stop was on lap 15, so definitely due for another one.
They are. They're going to. They The leaders are going to be quite happy about this free pit stop. It's going to help them out immensely. Make decisions a little bit easier to make for sure. As they're on pit road getting their tyres, they'll go all four tyres for this one.
Now, did we just see? Sorry, Carl. Did we just see somebody drive through the pits there?
That would have been Danny Albon, I believe, coming through or just exiting the pits as the leaders came in. Sorry, that was Steve Hoppett. Sorry, Steve Hoppett mistakenly came in the pits. I think he actually made a mistake
Okay.
and came through pit lane. That's what happened there.
Another reasonable pit stop. So Jason Martin a 14.6, Maloney a 16.7, Micklemore 15 flat, and Foster 15 flat. So
Yeah, some good pit times in there.
great pit times, but unfortunately Maloney looks like he got caught out this time with a another poor pit stop.
Maloney just getting that little chink in the armour, and it's he's managed to keep position at least. There in wait, sorry, timing's just playing up. Yeah,
Looks
up there in second.
Yeah.
Marco Dornack is in the pit lane. Sorry, there we go. Just having a little look through the lapped cars. So yeah, Josh Micklemore worked out there, so they relatively kept position there. Not many huge losses in that pit lane. Probably the biggest gain for Hamish Gallagher again. He's managed to get up to sixth place now, getting past Matthew Clewett and Bradley Allison. So he's now gained 18 places in this race on lap 37.
Absolutely fantastic. So Hamish is about to let the cork out of the bottle, I think, and get going.
Well, we often see this with drivers is when they finally get that win and just get that monkey off their shoulder, it becomes a lot easier in races afterwards. They seem to just have a little bit more. They seem to be a little bit calmer, a little bit more relaxed, and just find those next wins to be a little bit, well, less hard, let's say. They're not easy, but a lot less hard than they were before. And I think we're seeing that today with Gallagher, just a fantastic drive through the field. We've still got a long way to go, of course, but he's doing a great job so far and absolutely catching those positions up. So a really good charge up the field for Gallagher, sorry. A really fantastic drive up the field there and getting that win under his belt, finally getting rid of that sort of monkey off his shoulder. It's going to help him a lot, I think, and expect to see some good runs from him in the rest of this season as we come up to the final few races of the regular season and as we go into the chase.
Yeah, he's done a hell of a job tonight, making 18 places. A couple of other big movers there. Bruce Barnes making up 8 spots. Tristan Koch making up 7. Not too bad at all. Unfortunately, Norman Clark has probably been the worst out of them. He's dropped down 8 places, but he's still in it. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do in the 09 Dragon RC ZL1 Camaro.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how he climbs back from that one. A guy that's close to him as well is Michael Scurlock and Stephen Williams, both drivers that tend to be quite high up in the grid position. We've got Stephen Williams 13th and Scurlock in 14th. So we could see a couple of those drivers creeping their way back up to the top. Expect to see them working their way up the field again. Once we get towards the tail end of the race, they're going to be a little bit more racy, I imagine, as the pace car lights go out. So we're 1 lap to green now. But yeah, expect to see those guys start climbing their way up the order as we go through the race, and probably being in the top 10 by the time we get to the final 20 or so lap.
Now, this is something worth noting, Carl. Jason Martin, Josh Mickelmore, Danny G, all three of the Mitch Motorsport cars on the lower line for the restart.
They are going to be grinning ear to ear about that, and we do know from Mitch Motorsport they don't talk too much in the race from what they've said to us. They don't tend to they'll chat to each other a little bit, but they tend to work their own races and tend to sort of focus on themselves a lot. Um, they work very well as a team though, and they seem to always be in sync with each other. So we'll see if this works out well for them, if they're going to be working together in that respect. But it does give them a chance to get a very good charge off the line. If they can stick together and actually get that launch correct, they will block the other cars from coming down and manage to push their driver a bit further ahead. As Jason Martin dumps it once more, we get a great start from Martin once again, and we see those Mitch Motorsport cars coming up the field. Danny G now beside Jake Maloney, and he looks like he's going to take that position. Foster darting in just in front of Gallagher there, cutting off Maloney's chance to get on the inside line there. Brilliant move from Foster, getting there right on the back of Danny G, and he's going to try and work his way up this Mitch Motorsport ladder as we see Maloney just getting a little bit loose there. He had to let go of the throttle for a couple of seconds as he went through that corner. Just as he got a little bit loose crossing the line, and that's allowed Gallagher to get past, to get close to him and start looking at passing as well.
And this is exactly what the Mitch Motorsport guys would have wanted. All three of their cars in front now, first, second and third. These guys are really in the box seat now. They can take control and get going.
They are going to be super happy about their positioning right now. At the moment, Gallagher is busy fighting with Maloney though, as they come across the triangle once more. And will we see Gallagher get that position? He does. He gets past Maloney, and we've got an incident at the back.
Looks like Bruce Barnes.
We've got Bruce Barnes involved, and a couple of other cars. I think possibly Matt Hunt and Danny Albon as well. I think Mirko Dortnack might have been the cause on that one. Just going back to have a watch of that one. So Bruce Barnes has just lost it going through the tri-oval section. Mirko Dortnack has just gone up to avoid him, got a bit loose, and that has caused some other cars to come find him. Bruce Barnes has got a little bit of a touch, gone into the infield. That's caused Matt Hunter to go into the side of Danny Albon as he got spun around. Danny Albon's ended up on his roof. He's gone turtle. And that looks like the end of his race there. A big incident at the back there, just caused from somebody going a little bit wide and having to lift. And it can happen so easily and so quickly here. It's very easy to have a big high-speed crash.
Absolutely. He looked like the prima ballerina that got thrown high by Mao's Last Dancer. I mean, really, what a pirouette up in the air. That was fantastic.
I think that the Russian judges will give it a 10, but unfortunately not the race judges. That's going to be a race finishing moment for him as they quickly pretend to go into pit lane, as they so often do. We may see a couple of the midfielders or people at the back of the pack coming in for this stop to chuck on some new tyres.
Mirko Dortnack, Lachlan Urquhart, Mark Johansson, Steve Hobbit, Mark Hunter, Bruce Barnes, they're all in.
So they might get a little bit of advantage from this. They've all got damage. Mirko Dortnack's probably the car with the least damage at the moment. So it's worth coming in and at least getting that damage fixed if you can. I think, unfortunately, a few drivers are going to be absolutely done for tonight, though.
Yeah, absolute shame.
We never like to see it happen. It's never a fun thing to lose a race from a crash. Not something you want to see from competitors or from yourself. But sometimes, unfortunately, it's a very easy mistake. Looks very simple when you watch it over, but sometimes there's not much you can do in those situations.
Absolutely. So now it's just they're forming behind the safety car again. Lights will go out, and they'll be back to racing.
Back to green in a few moments, so we're probably going to get one more lap under pace car here. See how that goes. But so far, there's been some good charges up there. A lot of people gaining some positions in the top 10 now. We've got Michael Skurlock in the top 10 now, Raymond Yeager, Matthew Cluett, and also Phil Otto's worked his way up there as well. Norman Clark's just sitting on the verge of that top 10 now. He's just in 11th place, just sitting there ready to go, along with Neil Pearson. So we'll see how those people go as the race goes on. I think Pearson actually came into the pits that time round, so we'll see how they all go there. But yeah, as I said, watch out for Skurlock in this race because he has already worked his way up into the top 10 now. And expect to see him just creeping up those places as the race goes on, as we're on lap 45 of the Chicagoland ANZCAR Cup Series.
And it somewhat looks like as much as racecraft is helping him get out there, it's also staying out of trouble, staying clean while those around him have sort of fallen afoul of the wall or whatever, and which has helped him a little bit. But once again, I'm sure that he's got a bit of a plan in mind. He's one of those guys that you see that he tends to come on later in the race, and always gives exciting racing towards the tail end of the race.
We do, absolutely. And he's a multiple race winner this season as well, Skurlock. He is really fighting for that championship and for that top spot of the chase once we get into it.
Yeah, he certainly knows what's needed to be able to win one of these races. So, yeah, certainly he might be in P9 now, but keep an eye out for him moving forward.
And it's been, as mentioned, well, it's been a very strange season for him as well. He's been in two different teams and been running on his own for a while there as well, Skurlock. It's been a very different season for him for sure. Starting out with Illusion Motorsport early on in the season, and they shut their doors. We saw Skurlock running the fantastic hexagonal polka dotted paint scheme for a bit of time there. But now he's in Pace Syndicate, and he seems to be very happy in his new team. Found somewhere that he's very comfortable with.
Yeah, and it's great to see that he's been able to find a team that he's really comfortable with. He was always going to find a team. I mean, it was just a matter of time before someone picked up a talent like Michael Skurlock. But it's great to see him with Pace Syndicate. He's enjoying being with the team, and it definitely shows with his racing.
And the other good thing about it is brought a few of the Pace Syndicate boys to the actual tracks as well. Mainly experienced in track racing, road racing, and a bit of dirt racing as well. They do a bit of everything, Pace Syndicate, but he's helped a couple of them get onto the track, and we've seen some good finishes from them so far this season. So a good person to have in your pocket, a very good hand to have, a very experienced driver as well in the Cup. But yeah, a really good driver to have on board if you can get him. So currently, as we said, we've got Jason Martin, Josh Micklemore, and Danny G in the top three there. And this is going to change their start a little bit because Josh Micklemore is going to be on the outside this time round. Edward Foster is going to be right behind Josh Micklemore as well. So they're not going to have it so easy this time round. They're going to be a little bit side by side.
Yeah, a little bit of a different starting profile for this one. Once again, let's ride along with Jason Martin and see what he does once the safety car peels off. Last couple of safety cars he's been gone straight away, and it looks like he's doing the same thing again.
Like a greased whippet, he is off the line. He got away well. Foster getting not the best start he wanted as Gallagher gets down underneath him and is going to try and tussle for that position. Looks like Gallagher might have it here as Foster falls a little bit backwards. Yeah,
staying up on the high line did hurt Foster, but I was about to say that the Mitch Motorsports are 1-2-3 again, but Gallagher is looks like he's taken that spot off, that third spot off Josh Mickelmore.
It seems to have switched a switch for him and gone to fast mode in that car. He's got some serious pace there.
Once again, though, Josh isn't letting him have his own way, but yep, looks like he's made that one stick.
He's got a good move, and he's now going down on Danny G, and it looks like he might get through there and past Martin on the same corner. Great move for Gallagher. He's really holding that lower line, and he's getting past. We've got Bradley Allison as well on the charge right now with Matthew Clewitt, as Raymond Yeager almost goes free wide through turn number 1, but pushing that lower line of Clewitt, Allison and himself along there past Danny G and past Josh Mickelmore as well, as Hamish Gallagher has taken the lead for this race. Brilliant drive through the field for Gallagher. A big loser in that one was Foster. He's dropped quite a few positions right now. He's not that far from the front, but there are a number of cars between himself and that first place. So he's got to try and get a line that works for him and get underneath those Mitch Motorsport cars, which are dropping back at quite a pace right now. Odd to see for Mitch Motorsport.
Yeah, something hasn't worked for them, but and here we go, Bradley Allison making a move on Hamish Gallagher, and he's made it stick quite easily too.
A very brave and very well driven line there for Allison. You could see the car was very off-settled through that corner. Somehow he kept it there, and this has given Raymond Yeager a chance to get up underneath Jason Martin as well. So in a matter of moments, the Mitch Motorsport boys have gone from 1, 2, 3 back down to 5, 6 and 7. Real big change there for the leaders. I wonder if they think we might not be seeing another pace car out tonight, if they're going to try and nurse these tyres to the finish, as we get almost free wide across the start-finish line with Foster, Martin and Mickelmore, with Skurlock there as well, are battling very hard. They are free wide through turn 1 and 2. Foster just a little bit behind though, can't squeeze through there. Probably a wise choice not to push that one. But we've got racing all over the track now.
Yeah, really interesting to see the Mitch Motorsport guys have dropped back. It doesn't seem as though they're fighting too hard. So maybe they are working to that plan, Carl, of not expecting to see another safety car, trying to nurse those tyres for as long as they can.
Could be a very smart move here. They're just going to take the tortoise approach to this race and let the hares wear themselves out, as Matthew Clewitt goes down underneath Hamish Gallagher now for second place, with Raymond Yeager up behind him trying to take that spot from Gallagher too. Looks like Yeager might have done it here, and he has. Brilliant move for Yeager there, really pushing his way forward. Now Danny G is the leader of the Mitch Motorsport pack, and we've seen that a few times this year. Danny G is having a great season for the team and has been the consistent points finisher for them.
Yeah, he's doing exceptionally well, Carl, and he's kind of putting himself in the box seat every race, just finishing consistently and just adding to his points tally.
Yeah, the only race where it really went wrong was at Daytona at the start of the season, when himself and Martin got involved in a bit of an accident with Foster, I believe. And we saw those cars go out, unfortunately. But that's really been his only poor finish all season. And considering you get drop rounds, that's going to be very helpful for him. Once those drop rounds come in, he's in a really good position at the moment. As we see, he's now slotted into 5th position, as Bradley Allison has taken a nice lead at the front by almost half a second. 3 tenths at the moment. But the battle is still fierce between Yeager, Clewitt and Gallagher.
Yeah, Bradley Allison is all but checked out, but I get the impression that he's trying to put a gap on the field. Should he need to come in for that stop and get out again, so hoping that he can keep a decent gap.
That's it. It's going to be hard if you pit under green here. Still a long way to go as we hit lap 58. Um, I don't think anyone's going to be able to make it home from here at all. If you do, you're probably going to lose a lot of time as those tyres drop off. Um, but it's now a number of pit stops to the end. Will we see some people trying for a single stop to get to the end, or will we see a couple of people trying for a two-stopper? That's where the interesting part's going to come from, as we see Hamish Gallagher now get past Raymond Yeager. These two are going to have to start working together because Bradley Allison has gained over a second now on the lead. So he's really pulled out a nice gap now and is just sailing away from the rest of that group.
Yeah, he's certainly he has checked out, and like you said, Hamish and Raymond are going to really need to start working together to try and catch Bradley Allison up. Otherwise, he's just going to leave them all behind. But is he going out too hard, too fast? Is he going to burn his tyres up too early?
Well, that is the big question, and of course, this is Allison's first season in the Cup. Another guy that's come from sort of the road racing aspect, come into the Oval Series, has some good pedigree behind him, but might be just pushing a little bit too hard too soon here. But, sometimes these plans work out just as well as you hope they would. Other times they don't. But at the moment, he's making it work for himself, as he's almost 1.2 seconds ahead of that pack now. He's broken free, and they're going to have to start working together to start catching him. If this race remains green, he has got a great lead, and it will all depend on the pit stops.
Yeah, at the moment he's definitely in the box seat, and like you said, it's just going to depend on how things pan out from here. If it remains green, pit stop strategy. If there's a safety car, we have seen a safety car roughly every 15 laps. So expect to see one fairly shortly, but hopefully we've got some green racing from here on in.
Well, that is it. It's nice when it does run green, and we see Mark Johansson just coming down into the pit lane. I think maybe retiring the car there. He was just about to get lapped by the leading pack, so he did the right thing, getting out of the way and going into pit lane is always a good way of doing it, because you're going to make sure no crashes are going to happen on your watch. But this has allowed the rest of the field to start closing up again. They're starting to work together now. They're starting to notice what Bradley Allison's up to and start climbing up there. So they're closing that gap slowly but surely.
Yep, they're starting to hunt him down. They're not going to let him get too far ahead of them, and they're going to make sure that they make him work. They push him, and if they push him hard enough, that his tyres start going off early.
Yeah, and this could be it. This could also be the fact that his tyres are starting to wear a little bit quicker too, because we can see Hamish Gallagher is just reeling him in right now at a vast rate of knots. Another driver that is catching up another pair of drivers is that of Danny G and Michael Skurlock. As I said, don't count Skurlock out. I said that earlier in the race when he was lingering down in the mid-pack, and you can see right here he is right up there now, fighting for those front positions.
Absolutely, and a few positions back you've got Foster and Yeager that are locked in a battle there. Looks like Foster's just put a small gap on Yeager, but Yeager's been all over the back of Foster, and at one stage was in front of him. Foster just made the pass on the last lap.
Well, we saw Yeager fighting for the lead a little bit earlier on that restart, and now he's starting to drop back. So that thing of pushing the tyres a little bit too hard, a little bit too soon, that might be coming into play for these guys. We see Yeager dropping back through the field. He's got Jason Martin climbing up behind him now, and all over the back of him, with Neil Pearson as well. The cars are starting to close up on Bradley Allison too, so they're all starting to close their gap on those hairs that did launch off. Sometimes it's not the fastest car that will win a race, it's the car that drives the smartest, and we're seeing that right here with the tyre wear. Those guys that just fell off the pace a little bit, the Foster, the Martin, Micklemore, Danny G, they didn't launch too quickly. Skurlock as well, he sort of kept the similar pace to them, it's now paying dividends towards them because they are absolutely launching themselves up the order.
Absolutely. Bradley Allison's last lap was a 32-second flat. Hamish Gallagher 31.8, 31.8 again for Danny G, 31.9 for Michael Skurlock. So they're making inroads into Bradley Allison.
They are, and you can see Gallagher right over the back of Allison now. And this is where Danny G and Skurlock are probably catching up a little bit too, as they start to have a little bit of a fight for the lead here. It's going to allow those two cars to get closer up, as we see Skurlock going up high, Danny G low. Just keeping their positions, those two guys, just not looking past each other, but just playing those mind games.
And now you've got Allison and Gallagher there going up and down. Gallagher's made an easy pass on Allison. It didn't look like Allison was going to argue that at all.
No, Allison just giving that position away over the radio. Just let Gallagher know just to go down the inside. Was not going to fight that one. I think Gallagher knows that he's got a little bit of wear on those tyres, so now he just wants to sit behind somebody, get into their draft, and keep the speed up that way. Also, of course, when you're out there in front, you're breaking that hole in the air. You're making a big punch through the air, and that does make your fuel mileage go up, which is another big thing that can have a difference maker on this race. So now Bradley Allison's got somebody to sit behind. He can start saving a little bit of fuel. He's also got a little bit of extra speed from that car in front of him, and that will start to help sort of hide a little bit of that tyre wear. But he's got to be careful of Danny G and Michael Skurlock now.
Yeah, Danny G's looking racy. He's looking left, looking right. He's gone low. And he's looking to make that move on Bradley Allison. Bradley, once again, doesn't look like he argues it. Michael Skurlock's looking. He's going low as well. And
they're going to go low across the infield right now, off the apron. Bradley Allison just keeping up the top there, not fighting too hard. I think he's just gone through his tyres a little bit too quickly, and now he's starting to struggle a little bit for pace.
He's feeling the pain now, just as easy as that. In the last few laps, he's dropped 3 spots.
And we see a little bit further back, Jason Martin on Edward Foster. Martin pushing his way through, getting past Foster now. And these two are going to go back to battling, it seems. Will we see Foster press hard on this, or just be happy with the spot he's got there in 7th place at the moment? Just keeping those tyres relatively fresh, relatively safe. They've got a little bit of a gap to Josh Micklemore now as well, so we're seeing the race start to play out as we've had some good green flag running. Hamish Gallagher, though, still in the lead. 23 positions gained in this race. A fantastic job on Gallagher's side.
Fantastic effort by Hamish Gallagher, yeah, have to agree. And it, like you said, it looks like Jason Martin, Michael Skurlock, Danny G, Ed Foster, they all look like they're starting to come on now. Looks like they were playing a bit of a strategy game. Let those guys go and start burning up their tyres, and now they can start making some inroads on them.
Absolutely, as we see in the background there, Josh Micklemore getting past Bradley Allison. Again, a nice easy move there for Micklemore. Allison not pushing it too hard. It's sometimes better just to not fight it too much, because if you start fighting a lot, you're going to go all across the track, and on worn tyres it's very easy to spin and make a mistake. So Bradley Allison's just going to be going around there and just praying for the caution flag to come out, so he can get a pit stop in and get some fresh tyres on that car, because it seems to be hurting him quite a lot as Jason Martin now goes through. Edward Foster looks to be following very shortly. Probably across the tri-oval section, we'll see Foster go through and continue his chase on Jason Martin.
You can see just as Allison completes that turn, the back end of his car starts to step out just slightly. It would lead me to believe that those tyres are not very happy on his car at the moment.
No, and it just gets worse and worse, because as those tyres wear down, they get hotter and warmer and less rubber on them, and they become workable, and the car feels like an absolute pig to drive as Foster goes down the inside this time. Allison keeping his distance. Very wise move, just keeping on the circuit, not going too far on the infield. As we see Neil Pearson coming up now in the number 9, quickly catching to Foster as well. So Pearson now putting himself in the position. Just behind him, though, we got Raymond Yeager, who was falling back after his tyres seemed to drop off. Looks like he's managed to get them slightly cooled down, or just got them back into a sweet spot, because he's got some pace again, and he's starting to catch Bradley Allison.
32.6 from Bradley Allison that last lap, 31.9 from Raymond Yeager, so definitely catching Bradley Allison. And look, kudos to Bradley, he's playing it smart. He knows he can't fight with these guys, so he's not even trying. He's staying out of their way, and he's staying in contention.
And just as you might have seen just up ahead, the black and green car got past the orange and black car of Danny G. Michael Skurlock getting up into second place. 13 positions gained for Skurlock as well. These guys have been working hard for their positions tonight, but brilliant moves. And, well, Hamish Gallagher seems to be running very well out the front. His tyres haven't seemed to drop off as bad as some of the others. And as we said, we've seen this from Gallagher. He has got this very gentle touch on his tyres. He's another driver that seems to be able to get more out of his tyres than some others. So he's going to be very happy with that.
He's definitely in touch with the others as far as lap time's concerned. The only current driver that's in the 31s is Jason Martin with a 31.95 on his last lap.
And Josh Micklemore there going past Danny G, getting up into third place. Danny G just slotting in behind his teammate there.
Very smart driving up and down the field tonight.
Yeah. Just as we were going across there, actually, Yeager just made a bit of a mistake across the drive. He actually got onto the grass, had a moment, had to lift off. Allison had to lift off himself, and it's cost him a little bit of time on Yeager, as he managed to get back on the accelerator a little bit earlier. But Yeager is past Allison. Did make a little bit of a mistake, but did catch the car, so back up to pace for himself. As we see Jason Martin getting past Josh McCord, Danny G now.
So these guys, you can see Danny G is starting, his tyres are starting to sort of complain a little bit. How much longer are they going to stay out before they have to pit? That's the question. Any pearls of wisdom there, Carl? Any ideas as to how many laps you think these guys would want to stay out?
I would say we'll be seeing some pit stops in the next 6 to 8 laps. I think they'll try and get it to lap 90, just to try and make it easier for the end of the race. But we're going to see some people starting to think about pit road, probably in the next 2 to 3 laps, I imagine. We'll see a couple of people thinking about that pit stop under green, because that's going to get them a little bit closer towards the end of the race. So I think we're going to see everybody sort of going for a single stop now in the green. So we'll probably see people pitting in around next 5 laps or so, because these tyres are starting to fall off a lot of people's cars. Obviously now is the thing where you want to stick out just in case people start to make mistakes and start to have trouble, because you could get a caution flag come out and give you a very, very nice free pit stop. Of course, if you pit under green, you're going to lose a lap, and that could ruin your race. So it's a who blinks first situation. With the leading pack, whoever pits first is going to probably gain a little bit of an advantage, but those tyres do drop off quite quickly, so the later you can leave it, the better you are for late run pace. But the undercut is strong here, so we'll have to see how this goes, but we'll have to wait and see who blinks first, really.
And here we can see Michael Skurlock has turned up the wick. He is all over the back of Gallagher's car. He's looking, he's just over a tenth behind Gallagher. He's looking left, looking right. I'd say he's definitely menacing Gallagher, making him think, making him sweat. hoping that he's going to make a mistake.
Putting that pressure on Gallagher there, millimeter perfect, getting up nice and close to the wall. Fantastic driving from him. The ever fearsome helmet of Michael Skurlock behind him, that scary smiley man helmet, is a terrifying sight to see. As Skurlock stays on the top side, we see Danny Albon there going off on the infield, almost getting close there to Hamish Gallagher. That would have been a bit of a brown trouser moment for sure.
Absolutely, I saw that one and held my breath for Gallagher. But it is absolutely all on at the head of the field here.
And we've still got a couple of lapped cars coming up as well, and that could be the difference between a race win and a race loss right here. Of course, you know, when you're lapping a car, they don't have to jump out your way. They can stay out there. And they don't have to fall out the way. There's no blue flags here in oval racing, stock car racing. Of course, generally the drivers will be very nice and allow the driver to get through. They won't put up too much of a fight. And I think we're seeing it here with Bruce Barnes, I think, just getting past. But yeah, they're coming through there, and the drivers are being very, very kind to the driver up in front. He's getting out of the way. Bruce Barnes is the first guy to pit in this green period. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes. And got a feeling as well, yes, Norman Clark is in as well. This could be a very good move for Norman. We'll have to see how that plays out in a few laps. This could get Norman back up into that sort of top 5 position, as we see Foster now on the move, getting past Danny G as they get very close together, coming off the turns 3 and 4. Raymond Yeager also in the fierce battle with Neil Pearson as well. Very close racing, very hard racing going on, but fair racing, and that's what we love to see here. If you can pressure a driver into a mistake, no problem. But keeping millimeter perfect and getting very close is always a impressive thing. And I think we're going to have Danny G coming into the pit lane next.
He's
Danny G
both
is
Foster
pitting.
and Danny G pit.
So yeah, did Danny G manage to get that car slowed down in time? He was a bit of a late call, I think. Same with Foster, actually. I think he decided to pit a little bit late. You can sort of see Danny G just struggling to slow the car down, almost going into the back of Foster. So it's going to be interesting to see if he managed to get that one stopped in time. But we're going to have to keep an eye on those guys as it all starts to shake out here at Chicagoland.
Absolutely, and meanwhile, Michael Skurlock is making a move on Hamish Gallagher, and he's made it stick.
He goes down the inside and streams past the car. Great job for Skurlock there. Brilliant move. He's going to be dead happy about that, I'm sure.
That move started probably about 4 or 5 laps ago when Skurlock was just pressuring the back of Gallagher, waiting for him to make a mistake. Gallagher, to his credit, didn't make any mistakes, but Skurlock was able to find a gap and capitalise on it.
The probing attack, it's just seeing where the driver in front of you is the weakest, and you just keep an eye on them. You keep fighting them and just seeing where they're slower, where they're faster, and then you formulate your attack there, and they did it to perfection.
Absolutely. Now, are these guys going to come in and cover off Ed Foster, Danny G? And it kind of looks like no, they're still out racing. Josh Micklemore's in though.
Micklemore in, as well as Phil Otto, Rob Fletcher. Tristan Koch is trying to get the car in. Did he make it? Yes, he did. Almost got a penalty there. He was very close to running a little bit wide there, Tristan. But he got it in just in time. These guys are going to have to start thinking about covering off as Skurlock gets very close to the wall. He stays out for one more lap. Gallagher and Jason Martin are in the pit lane.
To their credit, their last lap was a 32.2, whereas Ed Foster and Danny G 30.5 and a 30.7.
Yeah, it's a big advantage on those new tyres. Norman Clark as well. That last lap was a 30.3 for Norman Clark. So good job for him. He was, sorry, 30.4, sorry. As Skurlock comes in this time round, we're going to see how this pays out for him. We've still got Bradley Allison out there. Who is still going around. Just trying to work out where everybody is now. That's the fun part of pit stops. Bradley Allison showing 2 stops for me. So
yep. So Bradley Allison looks like he's stayed out.
He's coming in now.
And he had to pull up short to let a car go underneath him. So that's going to hurt him for sure.
Yeah, that car was Josh Micklemore there. This is where it gets troublesome, is because you come out into traffic sometimes and that can cost you a lot of time, or it can gain you a few positions. Hamish Gallagher has come out just ahead of Jason Martin, and he just comes down. Very defensive move from Gallagher just to keep Martin behind him as he goes down the number 9 of Neil Pearson, who came in a little bit earlier than him. We have a new leader in Mick Wilson, who's just stayed out there just to get a leading lap under his name. But he's going to have to come in and pit very shortly. So far, the person that looks like he's made it work the best is Edward Foster.
Absolutely. He's in the box seat at the moment, although he is being menaced by Denny G. When Mick Wilson comes in for his stop, Ed's going to take that lead without a doubt. Mick Wilson is in now. His last lap with a 33.1 to Ed Foster's 31 flat. Danny G did a 30 flat on the last lap. So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting race because we've got Danny G and and Josh Micklemore right behind each other. So the 2 Mitch Motorsport guys on the JP Simshed driver.
Yeah, and Josh Micklemore is just gaining time at a vast rate of knots. Looks like Michael Skurlock might have some connection issues, unfortunately. Just a bit of blinking in the background there from Skurlock, but he's also got some serious speed. He came in a little bit later for that stop, so he's on slightly fresher tyres than these guys. That little bit 1 lap fresher tyre, it could be the difference between a race win and a race loss here. We saw that Danny G and Ed Foster pitted first, then you had Skurlock come in. Sorry, then you had Micklemore come in, and then Skurlock. And you can see that these guys are visually faster than those drivers that came in for the pit stop a little bit earlier.
Absolutely. 31 flat for Ed Foster, 30.7 for Josh Micklemore, and a 30.5 for Michael Skurlock. So they've definitely got the pace. Ed just has to find a way of keeping those guys behind him.
Easier said than done, but if anyone can make a cup car wide, Foster can, as Josh Micklemore looks to go around the outside here. He's got the grip on those tyres to do it. Will he make it stick right now? Foster goes down low on the apron. He's going to keep a position as he goes into turn 1. Does he? He does just about. Micklemore thinks about coming down, but Foster is too close. Skurlock pokes his nose in there, trying to go 3 wide. He's trying to force his position and giving Micklemore a little bit of a push here as Micklemore finally gets past Foster. He cuts down in front of Foster, not helping Skurlock out at all there, as Skurlock's going to lose that little bit of draft. He does come up a little bit now. Skurlock's now got a little bit of draft coming onto the tri-oval. That's going to give him a little bit of a jump, but he is blinking pretty bad at the moment. Skurlock might be having a few technical issues, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's not helped his cause at all. And now Foster is coming under attack by Jason Martin.
And Hamish Gallagher as well. Hamish Gallagher back up there underneath Foster, and he's looking to make this one stick.
Brilliant
Gallagher
move.
Getting a bit of push from Martin. Fantastic move. And now Martin's looking to press the advantage on Gallagher, but Gallagher's having none of it and cuts down in front of Martin.
Absolute fantastic move.
Brilliant driving there. That was superb placement of a car for Hamish Gallagher. He really managed to position that car well and get into a fantastic spot. He's got a good run here as well. We've seen that Gallagher's had some speed all night. Will he be able to get past Josh Micklemore?
Now you would think that he'd want to perhaps keep Micklemore at the front there and just follow him, but he also has to worry about Martin behind him making a move. So I'd say he's probably going to want to try and get ahead of Micklemore as soon as he can.
He's going to want to try and press that advantage as much as he can right now. Just for one of the earlier leaders of the race, Bradley Allison, he's down in 13th position now from that late pit stop. Well, 12th position now. He's coming back up the field now. Those tyres are a bit fresher, but it's whether he does have enough time to really take advantage of it. And he's got to pass a lot of cars, so he's going to use up a lot of that rubber getting through the field.
Yeah, and the lap times that he's putting down are very similar to the cars ahead of him. So it's going to be a lot of hard work for Bradley Allison to make his way back up to the pointy end of the field.
But again, a good strong showing from him as well. Another driver doing well is Neil Pearson down in 7th place. A car that we haven't really spoken too much about tonight, the DPR entry. Pearson having a fantastic drive there, along with Raymond Yeager in 8th. And quiet, silent assassins there. They've got a nice gap from each other and the cars behind them. Matthew Cloyt in 9th place. 10th place is Norman Clark, working his way back up the field there. Good recovery from Norman. Getting back up the field, and Pearson is starting to close a little bit on Danny G, so we'll have to see how that works out as well. As we see Skurlock getting underneath Jason Martin now, and he's going to put Hamish Gallagher under attack as well. If he can get the car positioned just right, he's going to get through here on Gallagher, going down the inside. He puts Gallagher out a little bit wide. Looks like Gallagher might have caught a couple of marbles because he's lost a lot of speed there. He's had to just reposition the car. He's lost 2 positions. Gone from 2nd to 4th in a matter of a blink of the eye.
And Michael Skurlock made that move look too easy. And now he's all over the back of Josh Micklemore and really starting to put the pressure on.
Those fresher tyres could be really helping out Skurlock right now. Of course, Skurlock just positioning his car perfectly there and just forcing Gallagher just a little bit wide. And kind of what you want to do here, if you can force somebody out into those marbles, they lose a lot of time because you've got to just lift off a little bit more than you want to. And it looks like Skurlock's going to try and do the same thing here to Micklemore, who's going to want to try and come down and cover Skurlock. But if he turns too harsh, he's going to start damaging his own tyres. So he can't be too harsh on the blocking positions. But he's going to try his best.
And that's the thing with these sorts of races with oval racing. You've just got to try and be as smooth as you possibly can, not scrub the tyres or scrub the tyres as little as you possibly can to maintain as much grip for as long as you can.
Yeah, it's an important skill to master, and it is a hard one as well. It's a very different feeling and a very different driving style to that of road racing. You might have just seen in the background there Neil Pearson getting past Danny G as well. But the action is hot and fast up at the front with Michael Skurlock trying his best. This has given Jason Martin a chance to catch back on Skurlock as they battle for the lead with Josh Micklemore. All the time, Hamish Gallagher is starting to drop off a little bit. Fifth place man Edward Foster is getting a little bit lost in there as well. He's 2.5 seconds down on the leaders as Skurlock makes the move. He goes down the inside, similar to the move on Hamish Gallagher. Pushes Josh Micklemore that little bit wide, costing him a little bit more time. Gets that inside position and just makes it stick.
And Josh didn't argue the point, knew what was going on, let him get through, and he's carrying on with his race, so it's not over by a long shot.
No, the important difference there was Micklemore managed to carry that speed through the corner. He didn't have to lift off as much. He wasn't forced as high. Did not get on the marbles, and that's meant he's managed to keep his speed going.
Not at all. 22 laps to go, 21 laps to go now, as they cross the start-finish line.
And Jason Martin looking racy on his teammate right now, as this has given Hamish Gallagher a little bit of a chance again. You can see those cars just fighting each other, and he can smell a little bit of blood in the water maybe as he comes flying up behind him, trying to get a run here and get a position a little bit higher than the top four, trying to get in that top three. Martin and Micklemore are fighting very hard as they go across the start-finish line once more, but Skurlock is making a nice lead.
Yeah, he's really making hay at the moment. Michael Skurlock has pulled out what looks like a 0.6 of a second gap, and he's getting on with it.
Yeah, he's pressing on now, and he's just got to get that rhythm and pace into that car and just bring it home, really. And as always, we're getting fantastic reviews of these cars from Track Cams with Gourmet, trackcams22.com. As always, brilliant pictures, brilliant images from these cars. Well, from the cameras of these cars. But Skurlock is just pulling away a bit from Micklemore and Martin.
Absolutely, he's showing a clean pair of heels, and as you said, I've got to echo that. Fantastic camera angles from Track Cams for Gourmets, trackcams22.com. If you're a broadcaster, or even if you're a streaming enthusiast, these track cams are definitely worth looking at. They just add another dimension to your streams and broadcasts.
Absolutely, it's stepped it up another notch for this year's Cup Series, which is always nice to see on the broadcast. Currently, though, the battle is between Micklemore and Martin. We've got a little bit of a battle going on down the back as Raymond Yeager now is fighting Danny G as they go side by side for 7th and 8th place. Danny G getting forced a bit wide. This might be Yeager's chance to get up into that 7th place. Looks like he may do it here. Danny G having to go quite wide into the corner. He's going to try and cut back underneath Yeager. Will he make it happen? He's going to try it. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to make it, though. Those tyres are just not giving him enough turn to get down there. Raymond Yeager now has to try and catch Neil Pearson, who is trying to catch Foster.
And all the while at the front there, Martin and Micklemore teammates are locked in that battle for second and third.
Absolutely fantastic driving there, and as we said with Mitch Motorsport, they like to race each other. They are a team, but they are a team of drivers who want to win and want to be the best. So they race very cleanly with each other, but they will race each other, and we're definitely seeing that right here as Martin is all over the back of Micklemore.
And it's great to see, teammates racing each other hard. They're giving each other the respect that they deserve, but they're not giving each other an inch on track.
No, absolutely, and it's sometimes a little bit helpful when you're actually racing your teammate, because you have that fear of crashing, of course, and you never want to take out your teammate, but also usually they're the person you can trust most on the track as well, so you sometimes have that slightly better feeling racing a teammate than you do racing some other competitors, because you know what they're going to do, you sort of know what they're going to be doing. As Micklemore gets a little bit loose there, might have given Martin a bit of a chance as they go through turns 1 and 2 again. Martin's going to get a bit of better drive down this back straight. Will he try through turns 3 and 4 and try for the pass across the tri-oval? Doesn't look like he's got it this time round.
I somehow get the feeling that Martin is maybe sizing Micklemore up for a last-minute move. He's having a look to see where Micklemore's strengths and weaknesses are. I think we're going to see a move with maybe 2 or 3 laps to go.
As we said before with Skurlock's move on Gallagher, just probing for attacks, just poking that car in front of you, seeing where it's weakest, and then making the attack where it counts.
100%, and certainly can see that Micklemore's not making it easy at all for his teammate. He's not going to give up second place without a fight, so if Martin wants it, he's going to have to take it from him.
And now we get another variable to this race as Michael Skurlock starts catching up to Tristan Koch. The 15th place man is in a hard battle with a few drivers in front of him. there is a fairly large battle just in front of Skurlock here, so he's got to weave his way through this traffic and get through there without losing too much time. This might be the time for Jason Martin to pounce. If Micklemore gets caught up behind a lap car, it could give him that chance.
And they'll certainly be knowing on their relative timing that they're coming up onto slower cars. So Micklemore is going to be looking ahead. Martin's going to be keeping an eye on what's coming up, hoping that someone slows Micklemore enough that he can make a move.
It can all be about positioning again. If you position yourself just right, you can sometimes box a guy in behind a lapped car and just make that move stick. Usually a tactic used by non-teammates, but we could see it employed here tonight by Micklemore and Martin. Skurlock just on the radio there, telling them that he's coming through. He doesn't care that they're battling, he's coming through.
Yeah,
as they go 3 wide across the start-finish line.
Yeah, he wants to let them know that he's there.
A very, very scary moment there as I think it is Bruce, sorry, where are we? Who that was? Tristan Koch there, sorry. Tristan Koch and Lachlan going 3 wide across the start-finish line with the leader there.
Sorry, Carl, here we go. Jason Martin is making a move on Josh Micklemore now. And it looks like he's going to come up to a slower car that might get in his way. This is going to be some interesting stuff.
It is indeed. And exactly as we said, we saw Josh Micklemore get slowed down by Lachlan there as he was just up on the high line. Now we're seeing it come to bite Martin back, but Martin's made the best of it at the moment, getting past his teammate. They've got another lapped car ahead of them to fight for, but so far Martin's made this one stick, and it seems to be working out for him. Brilliant use of a lapped car there for Martin, just making his teammate go a little bit higher and making him have to lift off. That was a great pass.
100%. And as you said, the lap traffic are under no obligation at all to make it easy for these guys to get past them. If they want to be gentlemanly about it, they can. But at the end of the day, these guys are racing as well, and the Cup cars have a completely different set of rules to road racing.
They do indeed. And we see Josh Micklemore getting a little bit of tow from that lapped car now. Coming up behind, he's trying to use it to get a little bit of a slingshot effect on Jason Martin, but it doesn't seem to have worked out for him, at least not yet. And no, he's going to lose a little bit of time now. He's lost a little bit of time in that fight and has fallen behind his teammate now.
And meanwhile, this has allowed Skurlock to eke a lead out. He's about 1.1 seconds out on Jason Martin now, with 5 laps to go. I think it's all about maintaining for Skurlock. Martin and Micklemore, though, it could be a different story, although Martin has sort of put a bit of a gap on Micklemore as well.
He has. He's got a nice bit of a gap there. I was just actually looking down and noticed that Neil Pearson and Raymond Yeager both made mistakes on that lap. Yeager had the bigger one though. Neil Pearson just caught the outside right of his car on the outside wall. Neil Pearson caught the front of his car on the outside wall. Now falling back towards Danny G. So Danny G has a chance to get back into 7th place. He slowly dropped down the order into 8th place now. Bradley Allison has crawled his way back to 9th place. Good run from him. Norman Clark in 10th. But the lead is looking good for Michael Skurlock at the moment. As we come across the line for lap 132. We're getting very close to the end of this race.
And at the moment, it really looks like it's going to be the status quo with Skurlock in first, Martin in second, Micklemore third, unless something dramatic happens in the next couple of laps.
Well, we've seen it happen in the past. You can never, ever let it go. You don't know until that last lap what's going to happen. But so far, it is looking good for Skurlock. Meanwhile, Hamish Gallagher looks pretty set in 4th, Foster 5th. And just sitting there, just in the 5th place. Neil Pearson 6th. The only real fight I can see on the track is Jaeger and Danny G at the moment.
As we go across the line for the hybrid racing simulation, 1 lap to go. Michael Skurlock's in the lead with a just an 8/10 gap over Jason Martin in 2nd, with Josh Mickelmore in 3rd. So this is almost all over, bar the shouting.
Well, if you're going to lead somebody by 8/10 of a second, you want to do it on the white flag lap as Skurlock comes across the triangle for the final time tonight, takes the checkered flag with a fantastic win. Jason Martin 2nd, Josh Mickelmore in 3rd place, Hamish Gallagher crosses 4th, Foster in 5th, Neil Pearson in 6th. Raymond Jaeger manages to hold on to 7th. 8th place is Danny G. 9th place, Bradley Allison. Norman Clark in 10th. He managed to get back up there into 10th place. So another good solid finish for those guys, but Skurlock's going to be very happy about that one. 14 places gained in that race. Fantastic drive by Skurlock.
And we said it earlier on in the race. Michael Skurlock's no stranger to coming in from down towards the back of the field and making it work for him, and he's done it again tonight.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant drive again by Skurlock, and this is going to really help him out in the points positions. As we said, he's currently sitting 2nd in the championship, but this is really going to help him out, get closer and closer to Danny G.
Absolutely. Probably not the finish that Danny G would have wanted tonight, but still, finishing in 8th place, it's a respectable finish. He's going to get some points. He's going to keep that consistent run going. Ed Foster's going to allow Ed to catch up a little bit, but it's not going to be that significant, I don't think.
No, and again, Foster just having another solid race, getting P5 in the end. Another good finish for him. Again, just consistency all year for Foster, having a great year out there. And again, it's going to be good for his chances to get into the chase. So let's just run through the finishing order there. So, as we say, Michael Skurlock getting the win, Jason Martin 2nd, Josh Mickelmore 3rd, Hamish Gallagher 4th, Edward Foster 5th, Neil Pearson 6th, 7th was Raymond Jaeger, Danny G 8th, 9th was Bradley Allison with Norman Clark in 10th, 11th was Stephen Williams with Matthew Cluett in 12th, 13th was Rob Fletcher with Tristan Koch in 14th, another good top 20 finish for Tristan Koch. Lachlan was in 15th with Phil Otto in 16th. 17th was Mick Wilson with Bruce Barnes in 18th. 19th was Mark Johansson with Matt Hunter in 20th. 21st was Mirko Dortnak with Steve Hoppett in 22nd. 23rd was Danny Albon, Jake Maloney 24th, going out quite early in the race, unfortunately, and Stacey Walker in 25th, first of retirements. But what we'll do is we'll grab down our race winner, Michael Skurlock.
Let's see if we can find him here.
Michael Skurlock,
You got me.
Congratulations on that victory.
Thank you very much, Carly. That one felt good.
I imagine it did. It's been a good run for you recently. You've had some very good finishes. This is looking very good for your championship position. Another win under your belt this year.
Yeah. Well, on a bit of a roll now. I don't know if it's what it is. Got the luck going again. Yeah. I mean, a bit controversial last week. I should have been doing burnouts last week, when I had to talk to you. But
yeah,
bit of controversy there. But no, I'm super stoked at that one because I can't. There's not really many excuses I can use for why I won. That was pretty much straight up.
Yeah, well, you did a fantastic job tonight. You had a bit of a poor qualifying performance. Was that just a bit of a bad run, or were you sort of aiming to get a bit lower in the field for your starting position?
No, I don't do it on purpose. I just tried to do a big lap around the outside, and then one tight around the bottom to see if that was the fastest. And like the thing's on edge, you know. So like when you hold it flat, it's like you feel like you can do it, but the back end starts coming out, and then it just spins around on you at the last minute. So I only got my first lap in, which was the one around the top.
See, yeah, that definitely would have put you back down there. So good result getting into 15th place though for qualifying. So not the worst that could have happened.
You don't have to congratulate me for that
bit. At least you
Forget
didn't end up last. That's the main thing. But you worked your way back up the field. We said early on in the race you were one to watch because you do tend to creep up there as the race goes on if you qualify a little bit further down, and you definitely did this time round. We've got to say on the strategy front there, because we did end up having that green flag stop at the end. You were one of the last cars to come in, of course, and that seems to have really paid off for you.
Yeah, for once. Normally I normally go early to try and undercut, but no, it's just a state of circumstance really, because I just got around Hamish, and I had a feeling he was going to dive in the pits as soon as I passed him, and then I didn't want to, you know, when someone's right behind you, you don't want to be trying to go into the pits. So I just went another lap just because I didn't want to cause a big pile up on the pit lane. But strategy wise, yeah, like tyres do mean a lot there. If you can save them early in the run, then you can start driving past people like they're standing still. So I was sort of saving, but then I'm not going to lie, I had the stream going on in the background, and I was like, I haven't had my name yet. I'm going to start doing something here. And then all of a sudden, you guys did a big minute-long thing about me. I was like, oh, no, now I've got to start. Now I've got to light the fuse and go for it.
Well,
I didn't
that's
want to
it.
let you down.
We don't want to put the curse on you too early. I mean, you know, we've got to try and let you win first of all. But you definitely did that sort of slow burn technique a little bit earlier on that first stint in the green flag area. Looked like you just sat back a little bit early on there and let a few people burn their tyres up a bit. Yourself, Jason Martin, Josh Micklemore, Foster, and Danny G as well. You all dropped back on that restart, but as it came through for that green flag period, you definitely started catching up. Again, was that a sort of strategic point, or were you just sort of caught off guard at that restart?
Yeah, no, it was. I was sitting there just because. I mean, you can throw it down the bottom. You can try these crazy moves on people, but like I'm not a fan of it. I tried to do that the other day actually, and I actually turned someone, and I don't like it. You know, don't like feeling like a douche. So I just sit there and wait for my opportunities really.
Like
and I knew that if I wait, the more I waited, the more the tyres are fresh. So you know what I mean. Works hand in hand.
Like a praying mantis, you just sit there and wait and finally jump on the prey when it most matters, and you definitely did that tonight, getting that fantastic win. JP, anything to ask?
Like a tiger, mate. Like a tiger, not a praying mantis.
Sure thing. We'll let you say like a tiger, I guess. I'll give you that one.
Mick, JP here. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, bud.
Congratulations on tonight's win.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Well done, mate. We sort of gave you raps there towards the middle of the race, saying you're the one to look out for when you're down sort of the back of the pack. You just slowly make your way through, and you didn't disappoint.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, that's the bit I heard. You know, that's why I was like, oh no, now I've got to go do something.
You don't want to make me look bad.
Yeah, I didn't want to crash or anything. But yeah, that's the thing. Like 90% of these races are learn how to get to the end so you can win, you know. Like it's hard to even get there. So like I'm with a new team now, and that's what I'm trying to stress. It's just survival is all that matters until the bit at the end, really. So there's a strategy around trying to get there, you know. But unfortunately, a bit of bad luck for Danny there, and well, Jimmy wasn't here, but Jimmy's had some bad luck in the past as well. But yeah, now that everyone's learning, we're all getting better.
Well done, mate, 100%. So, anyone you want to send some shout outs to before we let you go?
Yeah, I got these things written down now. Yeah, first off, obviously, Pace Syndicate. It's a new team I'm on. Loving it. Worm Paints, Blip Clothing, Simfinity, and Race Wire, which is written on the car there. There's more, but I can't find them on the bloody thing. Yeah, they're the main ones anyway. and just shout out to everybody that comes and joins in, because otherwise we wouldn't be doing it. And everyone puts the league on. Ed, Matty Hunter, Danny G, and you guys are putting on the show, boys. Thank you very much.
You're always welcome.
Oh, wait, and keep your chin on the rim.
Cheers so much, Scarlock. We will catch you again, I'm sure. Another great win for yourself. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks, boys. Catch up.
Scarlock there for the Pace Syndicate team. Yeah, it's been paying off this season for himself. He's been going well. So next up, we'll bring up Jason Martin for Mitch Motorsport. Another strong finish, second place there. Congratulations, Jason Martin.
Oh, yeah, thanks, mate.
That was a bit of a, looks like a little bit of a rough one out there for you. You had a very good early lead, and then it seemed to drop off a little bit in the middle, and you had to really fight your way back up to the front.
Yeah, after one of them yellows, I decided to try and save tyres big time, and everyone went flying by me. And then as they started to wear out the tyres, I tried to catch up and pass them, but because the car was so tight, it made passing hard. So, I wasn't getting anywhere.
No, you did a great job of working your way back up the field. We did see yourself, and as we're just talking to Scarlock there was a bit of tyre saving in that green flag stint as well, and you seem to do quite a bit of tyre saving in that stint, and it paid off towards the end for you.
Yep, it sure did. But the trouble is it made it real hard to pass people, and you could lose a lot of time just trying to make a pass.
Yes, and speaking of passes, we'll talk about the pass you made on Josh Mickelmore, your teammate there. Seemed like a lap car got between you two, and you took that advantage very well.
Yeah, I think he got a bit distracted, and I absolutely nailed that turn. So, I got by pretty comfortably in the end.
Yeah, and it was good to see. We do love the fact that you guys love each other as teammates, but love to fight just as well, and it always brings up some good racing on the stream.
Yeah, just because we're teammates doesn't mean we're going to just sit there and follow each other. We're going to try and race each other, and we're just going to make sure we don't hit each other. But yeah, we want to race hard. We want to beat each other, but we're not going to be silly about it.
No, and you did it again tonight. You did fantastic job. Obviously, fantastic job in qualifying as well, getting yourself and your teammates up there in the top four. It was a top four lockout again. You guys seem to really nail it in qualifying recently as well. Are you guys practicing a bit on sort of that qualifying time, or is it just your natural talents showing through?
I think they're learning to practice the same way I do, so it might be helping them with their qualifying a bit.
Absolutely. If you're going to learn from anyone to make a fast qualifying lap, you're probably the best one to learn from, Jason.
Thanks, mate.
Wonderful. JP, anything you want to mention?
Jason, congratulations on second place, mate.
Cheers, mate. That was a pretty good race.
Yeah, looked pretty good from where we were sitting at one stage there. I thought you guys were in the box seat when you guys were first, second, and third, but unfortunately didn't pan out that way. But yeah, still great seeing you and Josh get into it, race really close and hard, and yeah. A lot of respect between you. You could see there's a lot of respect between you guys, but yeah, you don't give an inch on track. It's great to see.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It's all about fun. We're not here for any teams, championships, or anything. We're just here to have fun. So that means we race each other.
Well, mate, if you weren't having fun doing this, you'd go and do something else.
Yep, sure would.
Well done.
Mate.
Anyone you'd like to give a bit of a shout out to tonight, Jason?
Just Michael Skurlock. Absolute class of the field tonight. I had nothing for him, really. So well done, mate. Got to thank BK Designs, ANZCAR, and of course JP Simshed for putting on the broadcast.
If you bring us racing like that, you are always welcome, because it does make the broadcast a lot more fun to call for sure. And we're looking forward to the rest of the season. It seems like you guys are getting closer and closer, and especially yourself and Skurlock. We hope to see some good racing towards the chase, and can't wait for that final set of races.
Yep, should be good fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jason. I'm sure we'll catch you in the booth again shortly.
Cheers, mate. See yous.
Jason Martin there for Mitch Motorsport. Another great finish for Mitch Motorsport. Fantastic job from them, really. What more can you say? They are just so strong at the moment. So next up, we will talk to another member of Mitch Motorsport, and that is Josh Micklemore. How are you going?
How you going, guys? Yeah, good. Yourselves?
Not too bad. Nice to have you up in the box again. Always a pleasure. And good result there again. Another top three finish for a couple of your cars there. As always, you seem to be up there, you guys. And we saw some fantastic racing out there between yourself and Jason.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad run. You sort of had to save your tyres a bit in that race, but yeah, no, it was good fun.
Yeah, it did seem particularly hard on the tyres out there. Of course, not the best track for tyres, Chicagoland Speedway. And it's a very tricky track to run as well sometimes, isn't it? Especially through turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, if you can get your line right, you can pass around the outside as well if you've got the tyres to do it. If you're saving them a bit, maybe you get a couple of guys around the outside, 3 and 4. So 3 and 4 makes it for interesting racing in that corner because, yeah, you can if you can get the top to stick, it's quite fun going around.
Oh, definitely. When the car sticks at this track, it's a lovely track to race on. It's just when it doesn't, which is pretty much about 90% of the time, I find. But you guys did some tyre saving earlier on in the race. We saw that over the stream, and we were talking to Jason Martin there. Just on your vision as Martin passed you towards the end of the race there, getting caught up just behind a lapped car, it looked like.
Yeah, on the second run, the second long run we had, yeah, out of the three of us, I had the best tyre wear. So, but I pitted. I was the first one to pit out of myself and Jace at least. And then I did wear my tyres out a little bit more than I did that second run on the last run, but I was unable to hold Jace back there. But yeah, Skurlock definitely had the edge all night tonight, really. Even on that second run when I had really good tyre wear, me and him were basically doing the same lap times, lap after lap. So, yeah, but he definitely had the edge tonight, Skurlock.
Yeah, he had some speed out there tonight, and it ended up getting him that P1 place. But obviously, as we're coming towards the end of the season now, we're rolling on towards the chase now. So things are going to start resetting themselves as we go. So your feelings about getting up to the chase?
Yeah, not too bad. Because I got myself and Jace got disqualified at Talladega. We're actually 38, 40 points behind where we should be at the moment. But the time we'll drop rounds and stuff, we should be up there. I think Daniel Grzeskovic and Michael Skurlock are both sort of tied right up the top. And then I think myself, Edward, and Jace are not too far behind after drop rounds. So, yeah, we're up there. We're in the top 5 at the moment. We've just got to be consistent and try and get a couple of wins before the chase and see if we can, be in the top 2 or 3 at the end of the rounds before the chase and see where we go from there.
Well, I'm sure you got it in you. You're looking good at the moment. You're up there. Yourself and Jason Martin are in the top 5 for the chase positions. So I can't see anything catastrophic happening. Hopefully, but just before you go, JP, anything you'd like to mention?
Josh, JP here, mate. Congratulations on P3 tonight.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Well done. Really well raced. Yeah, you three really, I guess, had the track sussed tonight and did a great job. So, and like I said to Jason, great to see you guys racing close, hard, not giving each other an inch on track, but racing with a lot of respect for each other.
Yeah, and there's a lot of guys in here we can trust in that and racing hard like that, and and we know we're not going to sort of take each other out intentionally and that. So it's also good for the viewers and stuff as well.
100%, mate. Fantastic. No, well done tonight. Congratulations.
So before we let you go, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, Mitch Mersfoot boys, Jason, Dan, all the work we've been doing lately, as well as for the Mons 24-hour race coming up this weekend. Our sponsors, BK Designs and Nexus Esports, and you guys for commentating, and JP for putting on the broadcast as well.
Not a problem at all, and thank you for giving us such good racing. That is always the thing that we enjoy, and as you said, we're lucky to have such a good field here, giving us that great racing at the front.
Yep, no worries, guys. See you next week.
We'll catch you again soon, hopefully next week. Good luck at Le Mans, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. See ya.
Josh Micklemore there for Mitch Motorsport, P3, and just going to mention quickly Hamish Gallagher, brilliant run as well, getting up there into 4th place in the end. Again, that's going to help his chances getting into the chase. He's just sitting there sort of in 6th place at the moment, and he's been having some great finishes, and that run was a fantastic run. 20 positions gained in that race. Brilliant job for Hamish Gallagher.
Absolutely.
So, we'll be finishing up here, really. Very good race there tonight. It was what we always like to see. Thank you for joining me up in the booth again, JP.
Always happy to try my hand at some commentary. Unfortunately, I don't know much about oval racing, but I was able to sort of rely on you to take most of the real information and let me faff about.
I can imagine a lot of people gasping at that I'm the knowledgeable one. But yeah, no, always a pleasure to have you up here. And well, thank you to everyone who joined us tonight, for every new subscriber and for everybody joining us watching. And as you can see up on the screen, we've got the times and dates for next scheduled runs. So Monday night, 7:30, we've got the Club Day Masters. I'll let you go through those, JP, just because you probably know where they're actually at off the top of your head.
Sure, yeah. So Monday night is the Club Day Masters. That's some really cool racing with the new Porsche Cayman GT4 and the BMW M4. Very, very close racing on the Monday nights. Tuesday night we've got the Nationwide Tracking Systems V8 Evolution Championship. So the new V8 series that we're running. This week we're going to be at Road America. We normally have a 35 to 40 car field for those races, and some of the closest racing you'll ever see. Last week, on Tuesday, the top 3 finished. They were less than 7/10 of a second apart, so some very close, great racing. Wednesday night, we normally show the split 2 of the NTS V8E Championship. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do it this week because the replay file was just corrupted. And of course, every Thursday night we're bringing you the ANZCAR Abruzzi Cup.
And we'll be at Pocono next round. That's on June 25th. So Pocono next time out. And of course, just for the ANZCAR side of things, if you are looking to come and give it a go, so to say, and coming to get some of the oval racing experience under your belt, we run truck every Monday night. Pretty much every Monday night now. The truck series, and that's at the same time as the Cup series. We also have the Grand National Series now. That's on a Wednesday night, again, same time, and that's racing the 87 cars around some of the classic tracks. And we'll be at Richmond next time out on June 24th for that one on the Wednesday night. If you feel like turning a wheel in anger and then watching some wheels turned in anger a bit later on, joining the stream, always worth doing, come along and join us. But for tonight, I will wish you all a good night. Again, thank you for joining me, JP, and we will see you all next time out at Pocono. Good night, all.
Good night.